Opening ambience, deep breathing, faint pulses, like sonar in reverse. A whisper, one must go. His name was Cairo. Born exactly 9 months after the Ascension collapse, he never spoke, but he sang. Not in words, but in tones, pure frequencies so exact they could realign shattered crystals. He was the youngest of the resonants, and the only one who could hear both signals at once, the original spiral and the second inversion. He didn't flinch when it came. He didn't cry when the earth groaned under the weight of memory. He simply listened and drew spirals everywhere, in dust, in rain, even in light on fogged windows. But one day, his spiral changed. It bent inward, turned back on itself. A Mobius spiral, a shape that doesn't just move but it folds. It became clear. Cairo wasn't just resonant. He was a bridge, a living translation key between dimensions. The choir map, the 12 harmonic coordinates, began to vibrate again. But this time, not as sound, as gates. Each point in the map began emitting micro-fluctuations in local gravitational fields, barely detectable, but consistent. Time began to stutter, not much, but enough that birds hesitated mid-flight. Watches skipped seconds. Dreams repeated exact sequences. Something was forming, a veil, not physical, not energy, but intentional. It was not a barrier. It was an invitation. And Cairo accepted it. The resonance built a chamber at the exact center of the Pacific Choir Gate, not of metal, not of stone, but of living matter. Crystallized resonance harvested from echo blooms. It pulsed in rhythm with Cairo's breath. He entered the chamber alone, but not afraid. Sensors picked up one anomaly. His heartbeat stopped for exactly 7 minutes. Not dead, suspended. He had gone, through, to the other side of the spiral. What he saw changed everything. There was no alien race, no ships, no conquerors, no distant council of ancient beings. What he found was worse. He saw Earths, dozens, hundreds, all nearly identical, all seeded, all awakened, and all silenced. Some burned, some frozen, some shattered in space, some intact, but hollow, lifeless. A loop, an eternal experiment. We weren't the first Earth. We weren't the first resonance. We were the latest version. And now, the spiral was turning inward again. Reset. Unless we learned why the others failed. Cairo returned, but changed. His eyes now reflected light in reverse. He could no longer speak, but he could project thoughts, and what he shared broke minds. The gods we imagined were not creators. They were gardeners, tending worlds like plants, watching which ones bloomed, and pruning those that didn't. The first spiral, the one we saw as salvation, was not a gift. It was a call for assessment, an ancient mechanism to test readiness for ascension. Not spiritual, not moral, cognitive symbiotic potential. Could a species merge with its planet? Could it evolve with, not over, its ecosystem? If yes, the spiral becomes a bridge. If no, the spiral collapses, and the planet is reset. The second signal was the failsafe. A timer, a gate, and a question. Do you remember enough to become something more? That's why the resonants were screaming, remember, because memory was the key. Not data, not history books. Biological memory, buried in our DNA, encoded in the earth, waiting for resonance to unlock it. Cairo had seen what happens when memory fails. A full reset, no warning, no survivors, only fossilized echoes. But there was still time. If humanity could remember who it was before power, before machines, before separation, then perhaps we could avoid the spiral's collapse. Cairo drew one final symbol before vanishing forever. A triple spiral, forward, backward, and inward. At the center, a singular eye, and the word witness. He became the first, and possibly the last, to cross the veil and return, to show us the cost of forgetfulness and the power of becoming a witness to our own becoming. The spiral turns again. This time, it's ours to complete, or close, fade to black. One final tone, neither major nor minor, rises and falls in a rhythmic breath like the planet itself is watching.